Hi guys and welcome back. So it's my favorite time of the year and now we're gonna start off the Christmas season with an awesome reversible Santa and Christmas tree doll. This is so easy to make, especially if you're a beginner and you've not tried a reversible doll before. This is one of the easiest projects you could start with. Before we get started, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to get notified every time I post a video. If you try out any of my patterns, please don't forget to share it with me either on Instagram or by email. The links are in the description below. So let's get started. So here are all the supplies you're going to need for this project. I'm going to be using medium 4 worsted weight yarn. If you want your project to be smaller, then you can use thinner yarn as well. For the Christmas tree side, I have some nice green yarn as well as some yellow. You can use other yarn for little pieces of decoration if you want. For the Santa Claus side, I've got red, black, some yarn for the skin as well as white. With all of this yarn, I'm going to be using a 3.75mm crochet hook. I also have a pair of scissors, a yarn needle, and a stitch marker. Now to get started, we're going to start with the Santa Claus side, and for that I'm going to make a magic ring. So I'm taking the red yarn, wrapping it across 2 fingers to create an X at the back of my fingers. Insert the crochet hook into the top, pull the bottom and twist, and then just pull up a loop. You have a magic ring ready. Into this magic ring, we're going to place 6 single crochets. Insert your crochet hook into the ring, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now to close up your ring, you're just going to tuck the tail end, and your first row is complete. Now for row number 2, into each one of these stitches, we're going to place 2 single crochets or an increase. So into the first one, we have 1 and 2. Into the one after that, 1, 2. Into the next one, 1 and 2. And you're going to do this 6 times all the way around until you have 12 stitches for this row. Now for the next row, you're just going to place 1 single crochet all the way around for 12 stitches for this row. If you see, I've put my stitch marker on the 12th stitch, so it's easy for me to keep a count. Now for the next row, you're going to do 1 single crochet into the first stitch, into the one next to that, an increase or 1 and 2. Into the next one, 1. Into the one after that, 1 and 2. And this is the pattern we'll do 6 times all the way around. So 1 single crochet followed by an increase or 2 single crochets. 6 times all the way around until you have 18 stitches for this row. Now we're going to follow that up with 1 row of just 1 single crochet all the way around until you have 18 stitches for this row. Now for the next row, we're going to do 2 single crochets, 1 in the first stitch, 1 in the second stitch, into the third stitch and increase 1 and 2. Again 1, 1, 1, 2. 6 times all the way around until we have 24 stitches for this row. Follow that up with 1 row of just 1 single crochet all the way around for 24 stitches for that row. So now I'm on my very last stitch over here and we're going to do a color change. So if you see, I haven't completed my last single crochet. I haven't done the yarn over and pulled through. I'm now just going to pull this stitch up a little bit. We're going to go ahead and grab our white yarn. Place the white yarn in front and use that to pull it through. Tighten all your strings well. You can snip your red yarn off. Now you're going to do another row of just 1 single crochet all the way around for 24 stitches for this row. This time in the white. Now once you're done with your 24 stitches, we're going to do a color change one more time. This time we're going to go to the yarn that we're using for the skin. I'm going to snip our white yarn off, place the yarn in front and just pull it through. Make sure you've tightened everything, and we can get started with the next row. Now for this row, we're going to work only in the back loop. So if you see, each stitch has a V. We're going to go only into those back loop stitches and place 3 single crochets, 1, 2 and 3, followed by an increase 1 and 2 in the same stitch. Again 1, in the next one 1, in the one after that 1, and in the one after that 1 and 2. And you're going to do this 6 times all the way around until you have 30 stitches for this row. You're going to follow this up with 2 rows of just 1 single crochet all the way around for 30 stitches for each of the rows. Don't work into the back loops, just regular single crochets all the way around. So complete this row and the next 2 ones, and then meet me back here again. So now once you're done with the repeat rows, we're going to do a color change back to red again. So I'm placing my red yarn in front the same way as we did before, pulling it through, tighten everything, snip your other yarn off, and we can get started with the next row. Now for the next row, we're going to do 4 single crochets followed by an increase 6 times all the way around until we have 36 stitches for this row. I'm going to follow that up with 3 rows of just 1 single crochet all the way around for 36 stitches for each of the rows. Now once you've completed your red rows, we're going to switch colors to black. The only difference is this time when we switch colors, we're not going to snip the red yarn off because we're just doing 1 row of black and then we're going to go back to the red. So I've attached my black yarn, and now I'm going to do 1 row of 5 single crochets followed by an increase 6 times all the way around until you have 42 stitches for this row. Now once you're done with this 1 row of black, you can snip your black yarn off. If you remember, we didn't snip our red yarn off, so we're going to pick up our red again. And now for the next 3 rows, you're just going to place 1 single crochet all the way around for 42 stitches for each of the rows, this time in the red. So now once you're done with your repeat rows, you can pull your stitch marker out and slip stitch into the very next stitch. Leave a tail. We're going to use this for sewing on, and you have one side of your reversible doll ready. Now we're going to add some details to this. So the first thing we're going to do is make a beard. So to do the beard, we're going to do a slip knot, insert your crochet hook and tighten. We're doing this with the white yarn. Now we're going to chain 20. Now you can add 1 extra chain, and now from the second chain from the hook, you're going to place 1 single crochet all the way around until the end of the row for this row. Now for the next row, chain 1 and turn your work around, and into that very first stitch we're going to place 5 single crochets. 2, 3, 4 and 5, and into the next 2 stitches we're going to do slip stitches. So 1 slip stitch, 2 slip stitch. In the next one again 5 single crochets, followed by 2 slip stitches, 1 and 2, and this is the pattern you're going to follow. 5 single crochets, 2 slip stitches, 5 single crochets, 2 slip stitches, all the way until the end, and then you can fasten off. And once you're done, you should have a beard that looks like this. I've left a long tail that I'm going to use to sew on, but you should have a scalloped pattern that looks like this. Now we're going to attach this on to the Santa Claus like this. We're gonna go from the hat all the way down around the face. So I've threaded up the beard, and we'll start from the corner of the hat right here. Place this in place, line it up. You can use pins to line this up as well so that you're sure of the placement, and then just do a simple stitch to make sure that this is secured in place like this. Keep the beard straight all the way until the other side. And now once you've attached the beard, this is what it should look like. So now let's work on the eyes. You're going to make a half moon shape like this. So to do that, attach your yarn, skip 3 stitches, 1, 2 and 3, and then just go around like this. Find the bottom part, split your yarn slightly, so you're basically inserting your needle into the yarn in the middle so that it's easier to attach, and just pull it through, and you have little half moon eyes that look like this. Now I've added a nice bright yellow belt buckle. It's just a simple rectangular stitch, and as a last piece for the Santa side, I'm going to be making a tiny little pom-pom to go on top of the hat, and to do that we'll start with a magic ring. Into this magic ring we're going to place 6 single crochets. Tuck the tail end to close up the magic ring, and then you're just going to slip stitch to complete it, and we can sew this on top like this. So I'm going to leave a long tail for sewing on. Snip my yarn off, pull it through. We're going to thread this end and then go on to the top and just stitch this in place like this. Make sure that you secure it well, and then you can fasten off. And once you're done with the Santa side, this is what it should look like. So now you can start working on the Christmas tree side. If you see, it's actually identical to the Santa Claus side. We're going to be following the same pattern, so go back to the beginning of the video and you can follow the same pattern repeated to make a second piece. The only difference between these two is every time we do a row of increases. So at 18, 24, 30 and 36, in that row of increases you're going to be working only in the back loops. So over here, if you see, when we did 1 single crochet followed by an increase for 18 stitches, we worked in the back loops. 2 single crochets followed by an increase for 24 in the back loops, 3 an increase for 30 back loops, 4 an increase for 36 back loops. So just for these rows you're going to work in the back loops. Now I've completed the last row right here. I'm going to do a color change. We're going to pull out our red yarn, attach it to the bottom over here, tighten all of your yarn. You can remove your stitch marker at this point, don't need that anymore, and snip off your green yarn. Now for this row, into that very first stitch you're going to place 5 single crochets. Into the next 2 stitches, do a slip stitch each. We're doing the same pattern as what we did for the beard. Again 5 single crochets, and then 2 slip stitches, 1 and 2. So follow this pattern all the way around the bottom row. 5 single crochets followed by 2 slip stitches. Once you're done with your scalloped edge, you can just snip your red yarn off, pull it through, and now we're going to attach it to the row where we did only the back loops. So you're going to attach it to the front loop. We'll go in with the red yarn again, chain 1. Into the next stitch, you're going to do 5 single crochets, and into the stitch after that 1 slip stitch, into the next one another slip stitch. If you see, it's very easy to crochet into these stitches because they stick out. Let me just show you. So if you see, here's the next one, it's sticking right out. Let's do our 5 single crochets, and into the next 2 stitches, 1 slip stitch and another slip stitch. So now if I pull out the corner, you can see the scalloped edges around this. Now once you're done with the Christmas tree side, this is what it should look like. I've added a little crochet star on top. You can add any decorations that you like. Now let's put our reversible pieces together. So we're going to flip the Santa Claus side to the wrong side, like this, and then flip this one towards the wrong side as well. Put all your ends on the inside, and then you're just going to turn one over the other like this. Now just tuck in all your loose ends because we're going to stitch the 2 sides, so this will all go on the inside and won't really be visible. And just pull the 2 pieces so that they're aligned one on top of the other. Now I've threaded up my red yarn. We're going to line up our 2 pieces together and then go through the front and back and stitch these 2 sides together. Go all the way around and make sure you're lining up the pieces correctly, and just stitch the front and the back with a simple stitch like this. And now that we put everything together, here's how it flips over. You have a little Santa Claus and you just turn it over, and here's your little Christmas tree. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I hope you try out this project. If you try out the project, please don't forget to send it to me either on Instagram or by email. The links are in the description below. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. Until next time, bye bye.